Coming up now on Animal Outtakes, we visit a working alpaca farm in Central Florida and learn about these curious creatures, how they can be more inquisitive and interactive than you may think. Plus, erratic behavior from an endangered species is getting attention from researchers all across the world. A team of scientists and veterinarians are caring for the first rescued small-toothed sawfish at a Mote Marine facility. Hear how it's going and why we should all care. And later in the show, meet Rudy. He was rescued from the streets of Lakewood Ranch, Florida, and trainers are hoping to help this little guy find a forever home. This and much more straight ahead on Animal Outtakes. Quite often, the first question that comes to mind when one thinks about an alpaca is, don't they spit? And yes, they can, but these animals can be so much more. It's hard not to fall in love with their big eyes, their stylish hair, and their inquisitive nature. They're native to Peru, but are found all over the world domestically. Their fur is something to be fond of, and their nature may surprise you, especially at LunaSean Alpaca Farm in Claremont, Florida, where you can interact with the softer side of these curious creatures.
This is LunaSean Alpaca Farm. We're located here in Claremont, Florida. It's a small farm, little 5-acre spread out here. We have 5 llamas on the farm, and then we have alpacas. This is the boy side. These are male alpacas. These are the boys. And the alpacas are a little smaller than a llama. We have over 40 alpacas on the farm. So alpacas are like a 6-year-old human, where llamas are like a 12. So you have to have something on a farm that can protect the poor alpacas. They're very low on the food chain, and they're skittish about everything. So we have llamas on our farm who will give a presence, and llamas see the world, where alpacas are kind of more of a, what do we have to eat, what are we doing? So they are inquisitive. Stop. Boys care about food, and girls. That's what they care about. And since the girls are way over there, all they care about right here is food. Very curious. They have huge eyes. So an alpaca has short, straight ears, where a llama has banana-shaped ears. They have big eyes, long eyelashes. Everyone's worried. You have 3 concerns. Do they spit? Do they kick? Do they bite? That's what your concerns are. So this animal is scared of you. When you go to most farms, they're going to run away from you because they're not socialized as much, and they really don't know you. Once they get to know you, they're going to play with you. They have a hard. They come from high altitude, and the very end of their nose is very squishy, so you can see. Very squishy. And that's because at high altitudes, he can pull a lot of air. They can flare their nostrils. They have a huge nasal cavity, and they can pull a lot of air. At 10,000 feet, there's not a lot of air. One of their major defenses is they can spit. They spit so they can run away. They're a flight animal. They're scared of everything. They're scared of the chickens and the ducks and the dogs and the cats until they get to know them and know they won't get hurt. People love these animals, but they're not familiar with the animals, so we're trying to have an experience where they could come in and interact and find out what they're about. Can this animal spit on you? Yes. Are they spitty all the time? No. They're not trying to, they want to know what you're up to, and with their ears going back, they're more or less asking, hi, what are you here for? Every one of my alpacas and llamas on my farm, you can actually feed with an open hand. But since they have no top teeth, you can also feed this animal with your fingers. But that takes a little bit, you got to give it a try, and then once you figure out they're not going to hurt you, Now, yes, I felt his teeth. His teeth are there, but he's using his lips to take it, moves it to the back, and when you'll notice that their lower jaw goes back and forth, and because they have molars on top and bottom, they eat grass, and so they're simply going to grind it and then swallow it. This is Midas. Midas is, my farm is built around Midas. Midas we show him like dogs. So he was a national champion in 2013. So I kind of built the farm around him. Majority of owners of these animals are ladies over the age of 50. So this is an animal that's not too big and ladies can interact with. This animal will take all the stress out of your life if you just spend a couple minutes with this animal, because they're very loving and all they want to do is interact with you. They are a little competitive though, so you got to make sure that each one of them actually gets his fair share, otherwise I could get spit on. We're going to go over and see Cosmo, one of the smartest animals. So your fear would be, will he hurt you? Well, llamas have huge lips. Hi, Winston. So Winston is the 4-year-old. So I actually push Cosmo away because I don't want to get spit on, because they can be very competitive when it comes to food. But look at the beautiful eyes, long eyelashes, and look at his banana-shaped ears. It's like having a bunch of children. Some are a little more standoffish but want to eat. Some are going to want to be in your face, and like this is Levi. He's a Great Dane puppy. That's what he thinks. So he wants to sit in your lap and he wants all the attention, because he's still very immature. And then Midas is more of a, hi, what are you doing? True interaction, but after a while we'll walk off going, okay, there's no food, so we're just kind of very laid back. I've conditioned them to where they know that people aren't going to harm them, and now they're very inquisitive and very interactive. I want people to come out and enjoy the animal. They really don't have a frame of reference on what the animal is. They're cute, they're cuddly, they're gonna spit on me, they can bite. I want to where after you've been here an hour and you've relaxed and they've interacted with you and you go, I have a lot of people go, we don't want to leave, because they just kind of pull all the stress out of you. When you call the dinner bell, come here girls, come on girls, come on girls, come on, come on, come on, come on girls, come on. What are y'all doing? Look at you. Who are you? What are you doing? That's what they're thinking. Now they are a little competitive. So, and every one of them you can feed 2 ways. Open hand, you didn't get that. Open hand. Now, when you there's some alpha females here, older sisters that want all the food. So sometimes you have to know, this is one of those, and they'll push the little ones out. Like this is a little 4-year-old, this is Colby. And so sometimes you just have to make sure that the little ones get their fair share. They're not gonna do that. And some very timid one, this is Pippi. Pippi's very, very standoffish. Now there's 2 types of alpacas. There's poofy ones and long silky ones, thank you. This is a poofy one. This is called a Wakaya. H-U-A-C-A-Y-A, poofy like a teddy bear. 85% of the alpacas in the United States are poofies. 15% is a sign of love. Okay?
Got it.
Now, I have 2 Wakayas and Surreys. Surreys are long silkies. Their hair grows and falls. If your hair comes down to, when you grow it, comes to your shoulders, you're a Surrey. They don't care about the difference between Wakayas and Surreys. They just know you're an alpaca. And I have 2. This is Joni. And then I have Maisie over here. Hi, Maisie. Alpaca can live up to 20 years. If we can get them to 15, 18, that's a good lifespan for them. Where llamas can get up to 24. If we can get them to 20, we're fine. Hi, Lily. What are you doing? So we have 3 female llamas. This is Clover right here. So Lily and Clover are sisters. Lily's a year older. They're an Appaloosa. They have spots. So this is Lily. Hi, Lily. Lily is the safest, smartest animal on my farm. They get a bad rep. When you go to South America and go up the hill and walk into their house and try to touch them, they'll spit on you, which makes sense. But overall, they're very inquisitive. So she does actually want to touch you. She just likes the treat so much, she'll put up with you. So this is the nursery. This is Rogue. She's the first one of the 2024. And we name, every year we have a theme. So we're doing Marvel or X-Men characters this year. So this is Rogue. She's gonna spit at him. So she's, of course, you can see, and she is only like 2 months old. They do make an excellent pet in their house, not in your house. So if you have an area that you can go out and interact in their environment where they're very, very safe, it's a skittish animal. So if they have their own play space, their barn, they have their own food and water, and they have their own area yard to interact with, and you come into them, they go, oh, they love you. But taking them scares them to take them into an environment they're not familiar with.
They need to be with their own kind, at least 3 of the same gender, and they're a lot like cats. Most of them don't like to be played with. Heart is okay with it because unfortunately she was a bottle baby. Her mother died, so she is much more familiar. People mean food to her. She's a lot more familiar with being handled by us.
Interacting with animals is bringing you back to nature. It's bringing you back to an animal that wants to interact with just you. It's you one-on-one with an animal, or a herd of animals where they just want to come up and say, hi, how are you? And once you figure out that they trust you, you may be a little apprehensive when you start, but once you interact with them and find out that they're not going to hurt you, you just want to interact and play with, and they're soft, they're cuddly, they're fun. You know, people go, this is my favorite animal, and you go, have you ever met one? They go, no. And then an hour later, they don't want to leave the farm because they're going, I didn't know it was this much fun.
If you'd like to learn more about LunaSean Farms, just search for them on social media sites like Facebook. There they have additional content and offers for tours. Coming up next on Animal Outtakes, researchers have rescued the first small sawtooth fish, hoping to rehabilitate the animal while looking for answers to what's happening to these animals in our waters. And that's next.
Good morning, Mr. Benson. Your breakfast is served.
Time for another day in doggy paradise. I sure am one lucky pup.
Mr. Benson, would you like to go out for your morning stroll? The weather is quite lovely today.
That sounds wonderful. Don't mind if I do. After all that exercise, I think I'd like to lounge by the pool and maybe dip my paws in.
As you wish, sir. Right this way.
Ah, what a perfect day. I couldn't imagine being anywhere else but Donte's den while Mom and Dad are away.
At Donte's Den, we pride ourselves in providing the best experience for your beloved pup. Whether it be a day, a month, or a year, Donte's Den should always be at the top of your list for boarding. With an expansive campus, your dog will enjoy daily walks, pool time, and an endless supply of love. Even better, it's all under 24/7 supervision from our wonderful staff. If you're anything like us, your dog's safety and happiness come first. To learn more about Donte's Den, visit dontesden.org.
Welcome back. Recently, Mote Marine Laboratory and the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission responded to calls about a distressed smalltooth sawfish. The animal had been swimming in circles in the Florida Keys. Mote's president says the ongoing efforts of all agencies involved are crucial. Everyone trying to figure out how to help these fish.
What has happened is that Mote, with our partners at FWC, the Florida Fish and Wildlife, responded to a distressed sawfish on April 5th in the Florida Keys. And for the first time ever, a rescue attempt was made for the smalltooth sawfish. And very fortunately, we were successful in that effort. The sawfish was then immediately transported to one of our campuses in the Florida Keys, where we had an initial stabilizing tank ready for the sawfish to be placed into, to try to actually stabilize the animal so that it wasn't getting worse and hopefully would get a bit better in terms of the level of distress it was experiencing. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't know what is causing this abnormal behavior in the small-toothed sawfish, and I should add, this abnormal behavior is being experienced by multiple different fish species throughout the Florida Keys. And we're not sure of what the causative agent is. There's numerous organizations, in addition to Mote and our scientists, other research institutions, other federal and state agencies that are all investigating and looking into what the causative agent is. Is it a toxin that is in the water? Doesn't seem to be yet. Is it a parasite that is cutting across different species? One hasn't been found yet. And indeed, it may be years before, if ever, the determining agent has been identified. But while we are trying to look for what is causing this abnormal behavior, it's incredibly important that we also, in a parallel track, try to do everything we can to rescue this endangered species, help it get back to a healthy state, and then release it back into the wild. So rescue, rehabilitation, and release. That is our strategy. Well, this abnormal fish behavior is cause for worry. It's cause for worry because it's something that we don't fully understand, that may have broader consequences in terms of impacts to these species and to the broader ecosystem, all these different fish species. And I think it's important for us to gain a greater understanding in what that causative agent is, but we also have to be mindful that in many cases in the past, there have been fish die-offs, there have been urchin die-offs, there have been these kinds of events that have happened, and it has taken years to identify the forcing function or active agent for this. And again, that's why it is so important with a endangered species that is already by definition on the brink of extinction, that we must do all we can to rescue, rehabilitate, and hopefully end up releasing healthy small-toothed sawfish back into the environment.
And if you'd like to help join the effort to try and help private nonprofits like Mote Marine save these fish, log on to mote.org and click on the Sawfish Rescue Initiative. You can also report any sawfish observations to FWC at 844-4-SAWFISH. There's more Animal Outtakes coming up after the break. Here at Donte's Den, we often help rescue dogs who need some rehabilitation before they can find their forever families. And the dogs always become part of Donte's family in the meantime. Upon intake, they're quarantined, they receive whatever medical care necessary, and a lot of love along the way. And dogs like Rudy are why we work so hard at doing what we do.
We have 2-year-old Rudy. Rudy's a Fox Terrier Dachshund mix. He came to us about 2 months ago. He was found wandering Lakewood Ranch. We put all the information out on MyACA 411 to see if we could find Rudy's owner, and Rudy's owner never came about. So we've checked for a microchip. Rudy's got no microchip. He's actually a great, friendly dog. All he wants to do is play and run. Right, Rudy? So with Rudy, we're starting to break it down by giving him time side by side with a lot of dogs to get him, just to find out if he's going to be compatible with males, females, big dogs, small dogs. So right now he's running around fence lines with Sam in the Welcome Center. just so we can keep an eye on him to make sure that he's not going to show any signs of aggression. So with Rudy, we're looking for somebody with a nice backyard, fenced in. So we don't know if Rudy is great around small kids, but if they're at least a little bit of, preteen or teenagers, Rudy should do excellent. Rudy's, he just wants to pull and run around right now. Oh, buddy. Since we didn't have a medical history on him, we had to take Rudy for the first 2 weeks. He had to get all of his shots and he had to go into quarantine. So Rudy himself didn't get to go out and play or even see another dog for the first 2 weeks he was here. Now that he came back and he's negative on everything, his heartworm's negative, his parvo's negative, he got all of his shots, he's up to date, he's just a happy, smiling little boy. He can now go out and play and run around with Sammy on the fence line.
What do you hope for him?
Well, I hope that he does great once we start interacting him with other dogs face to face versus through the fence. And if he does that, then we can start bonding him with other dogs, and then we can get him out there and get adopted, maybe to somebody who already has one dog who's looking for another dog. Huh, buddy?
If you'd like to learn more about Rudy or the others we have available for adoption, log on to dantesden.org, and we'll be right back. Animal Outtakes is produced by Donte's Den Foundation, a nonprofit group dedicated to creating the best life for dogs. If you would like to learn more about Donte's Den, donate, or volunteer, visit our website, dantesden.org. We'd like to close our show today with some adorable photos. The team at Busch Gardens, Tampa Bay recently announced the birth of a critically endangered Bornean orangutan. The baby girl weighed in at 3 pounds, 4 ounces. Born via C-section, Mom Luna is currently recovering from surgery. And according to officials, the delivery was led by a team of medical and zoological professionals from multiple organizations to assure mom and baby had the very best care. It's said once both are stabilized, they will be reunited and monitored closely by the vet team at the park. And we hope you've had fun and learned a thing or two along the way. We'll be back here again next week with even more animals and some engaging encounters. Until then, thanks for watching.
So we have 18 chickens, we have 15 ducks, 2 geese.
Chick, 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 chick.